Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different here. I have a Ruger American in 22-250. Now, I'd like to say, if you would please, hit the like button and subscribe and help my channel's algorithms, if you would. And also for the AI that's out there, I am not selling, advertising, or trying to sell any products in this video. If I do mention values, it is for reference only, okay? All right, so a lot of you fellas remember years ago when I was doing budget guns, okay, a lot of them are not mil surplus. You know, most of the new firearms, they kind of run along the lines where people who collect mil surplus would like it, be it ARs, certain pistols, and of course cheap Turkish shotguns. Well, years ago, when they were phasing out these budget rifles, all these companies, Remington, Mossberg, I did a series of budget hunting rifles that come with a scope. And the way the series worked, it was the point I'd cut off was $350 in value, okay? So everyone kept saying, what about the Ruger American, the Ruger American? Well, at the time, it was close to about 400. So I eliminated it, but now we have one in front of us. Now, what this is generally when I do reloading for a hunting cartridge or round, most of the stuff that I do for the mil surplus guns will either be a full metal jacket bullet or a cast bullet, you know, depending on the caliber. For my friends and people I know, I will develop them a hunting load for their gun. And this is kind of how I ended up with this friend of mine who owns a farm. He's got some land in it, and he has a problem with coyotes. So somewhere along the line, it ain't quite clear, so he ended up with this rifle, okay, in 22-250, which is kind of an older caliber, and I don't know how popular it is anymore, because I know there's a lot of things out there that surpass a lot of these older cartridges. But I will do a video on the history and some of the issues you will run into if you end up with one of these rifles. Okay, and I'll touch that briefly in this. So he asked me, I told him, you know, let me do this. He said, I got this rifle. I want to use it for this. I'm not sure, but accuracy-wise, there's not a lot of success with this. Okay, and some questions. I don't even know if he shot this. If somebody, he either bought it from someone that didn't want it because the accuracy wasn't there. I don't know if he's even shot the gun. So I said, let me do it. Let me look into it. Let me study the cartridge and see if I can come up with something to help you out. And I explained to him that, and that's why I'm making all these public videos, and I will also make videos with the load data and everything else public, not to insult my members, who that's one of the perks of paying a membership, is to get all my load data and instructions for reloading. But I will make it public just so that the individual who, you know, who asked me to do this can see what is involved and what's done to get to where we're going to try to get an accurate round out of this. Plus the fact I mistakenly bought an 8-pound keg of powder for 4.5. You've seen the video I did on that. And I got a load that I can use that powder in this gun. I have to dig out on my older ones. I still got the Savage Access and 6.5 Creedmoor. There's a load for that, so I will use the powder, but it's more designed for And the info out there is all for more or less hunting rounds, not so much military cartridge. So that's what we're going to do. And this rifle here, okay, and the cool thing about Rugers, if you go to the Ruger website and do a serial number search, you just type in the serial number in a box, hit, and it tells you, okay, this is a model 06905. It is no longer in production. It told me the caliber, 22-250, and it left the factory in 2013. So this firearm must be a Gen 1, because when I look up the Ruger Americans, they're all talking about Gen 2s. And they don't have a very good rep for accuracy in that. So I'll get the camera and we'll take a look at the firearm, and I'll show you some of the features of it here. Alright, and after examining this gun, I knew why a lot of my subscribers asked why I did not include this rifle in the lineup. Because it falls into the same category. They have a synthetic stock, simple bolt action. You have your safety mounted here. And to show you, I put a piece of paper in here. It does have a free floating barrel, much like the Remingtons and everything else. It has a detachable 4-round magazine, and the reason I believe that these rifles were a little bit more expensive is this scope on here. The Remingtons and that came with a very simple Chinese scope. This one here is a Burris, and it's adjustable, and 3 to 9 they all were. And this is an interesting scope. It has your magnification there, and then this drum on the side that goes in hundreds of yards, 50, 100, 200 to infinity. Not quite sure how you use that. And also it has this waffle thing on the front, which I don't know what that is. Okay, like I said, free floating. Got a nice muzzle crown, 22-inch barrel on it. And like I said, I think this is a Gen, because most of them now are Gen 2s, and they come with a Vortex scope. Let's take a look at the other side. Actually, the scope, or the stock on this, is not contoured that bad, but I won't know until I go out and shoot it. Right here is how you release the bolt, and I will demonstrate that here in a minute, and the magazine, 4-round magazine. But yeah, I think that's why these were priced a little higher, because they had a better quality scope on them than the other budget hunting guns. And I forget the calibers this comes in. There's, if you look them up now to Gen 2, there's about 8 different calibers, and they do make a long and short actions like a lot of these guns, depending on what caliber you get. Alright, let's move on to the features. Okay, so like all of these guns in this class, very simple. You have a bolt, and then on this side, this gun, some of them are a pain to get out. This side, you just push this down on the left side of the receiver, this little lever, and out will come your bolt. Pretty simple, 3-lug, you know, pretty nice. And whoever owned or shot this gun just pulled it out of the box without cleaning the oil off. It was on there, it was kind of sticky. I had to clean it off and get it lubricated. And getting it back in is fairly simple. You just the big groove goes to where that locking thing is, and you just slide it home. Fairly simple, fairly smooth action. And safety's here. Now, I believe these also have an adjustable trigger. If you pull this apart, all the Americans, you take a Allen wrench and you can adjust the trigger pull, and it has the similar kind of, I guess that's a double safety. You got to depress the little thing in the center. And actually, that's pretty light pull, so somebody may have adjusted that already. I ain't gonna fool with it because it's not my rifle. And then, like all of them in this class, it has a detachable mag, which is polymer, plastic, whatever, 4 rounds for this particular caliber. I think most of them were about 4 rounders. I don't know if any of them held 5. And it's kind of like a little, rotary style mag. You know, it's not a box mag. I think it goes around like a little rotary mag. Now, thing about this particular rifle and issues with 22-250, it's an old cartridge. In the old days, 55 grain bullets were about the heaviest in 22 caliber. Now I'm talking, you know, around World War II and that, or whenever this cartridge was developed. So the barrel, and this is going to be the kicker, which you got to watch with this, the barrel twist rate was 14, 1 turn and 14 inches, the old one. That'll drive a 35 grain bullet out to about 4,000 feet per second with good accuracy. And it's, you know, the 1 in 14 is accurate with 55 grain and below. This, and they come in different things. There's a chart, and when I explain the cartridge, I'll show you the chart. This, Ruger made this with a 1 in 10 twist rate, and they broke it into 5 different twist rates that are manufactured for this caliber. And the way they would list the bullets and the weights is okay, good, or excellent. And when Ruger made this, I think the reason why in 1 in 10 twist is from the 35 grain all the way up to 90 grain is the highest they list. It says okay until it hits 60 grains. Then it says good, accuracy-wise. So I decided, because I think they were firing 50 grain in this, and they weren't impressed with the accuracy. So I'm going to try to develop a load, and 60 grain bullets, very few choices. Speer makes them, Hornady, and I think I got the Speer bullets. I bought some. And then Nosler, they only make, or Hornady makes 2, just a soft point and one of the plastic tip points. But most other ones only make 1 style bullet in that weight. And some companies don't make a 60 grain bullet in 22 caliber. So that's why I'm going to shoot for that and narrow down the field, because I guess some of the ammo they were showing me was 50 grain loads, and they weren't happy with that. So we're going to go with the best. And Ruger did it because I guess it'll probably give mediocre accuracy with everything, you know, you put in there. Because on that chart, and we'll look at it, it says do not use for some of them on a twist rate, depending on the twist rate. So that's where we're at with it. And we're going to make a series of videos. And like I said, when I developed the load for this to try to get the accuracy out of it, I will explain to you the powder charges, take you through the reloading process, and then show you how I test it with the chronograph and all the other stuff, and how I'll conclude what I have, and then go back to my buddy with a load, let him try it, see if he likes it. Alright guys, stay tuned.